Hey everyone, so I'm Catherine and I thought I'd talk about comparing SoulCycle to a Peloton. Spin cycle classes have become really popular over the last several years, and I've really come to love taking them when it comes to fitness. Before 2020 happened and all the restrictions on going out and social distancing, I used to love taking classes like workout fitness classes. I learned to really love spin cycle classes, and so this includes SoulCycle. And so SoulCycle was my first love before Peloton. So during the last couple of months, since I have not been able to go to any workout classes including SoulCycle, my family actually decided to invest in a Peloton bike, which is basically like SoulCycle at home. And so I wanted to kind of compare the two and see if I think a Peloton's worth it or not worth it, whether SoulCycle's better, pros and cons of each one. And I think it might be helpful to those of you who are considering to get a Peloton, because of SoulCycle you can try a class or two and see if you like it. You know, it's not a huge cost. But a Peloton, you have to invest a lot. You have to buy the bike, you have to buy everything up front, and then you then you don't have to really pay for every single class, you just pay up front. But you know, it's a pretty big investment, so I think it is an important decision to think about and not to just buy on a whim. So basically Peloton is a lot like SoulCycle, except SoulCycle is in person. You buy your classes online on an app, and then you go to a SoulCycle studio at a certain time with a certain instructor, with people all around you, and it's a very like traditional class where there's an instructor and a class and you follow what the instructor does. Whereas a Peloton, it is that but virtual. So you buy your own bike, and it's a Peloton bike, and then the bike comes to you and it's set up for you, but it's your bike, and so it's virtual. And what you do is you go onto your Peloton, you make your own account and all of that, you get your own shoes also, just you have all your own equipment. And so what's nice about a Peloton is that you can do the classes whenever you want. There are classes that you can do live if you like that aspect of having a certain time to commit to, or just know that you're doing it at the same time as other people. Or you can do that class whenever you want later. Because there are Peloton instructors all over the world, there's some weird times for me being on the West Coast. There are a lot of Peloton classes at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. because there's people in like England or somewhere in Europe that are instructors. But I haven't really done any of the live classes just because I'd rather just cycle when I want, and kind of put that into my own schedule how I like. So that's a really nice thing about Peloton. With SoulCycle, I didn't really get to choose. I got to choose the time, but I only got to choose certain times during the day. When I lived on the East Coast in DC, there are a lot of different SoulCycle studios, and so I got more options of times, whereas I only have one that's close to me unless I want to go across the bridge into Seattle. And that, though, before, you know, it closed down for quarantine, there were only a few times throughout the day, and they were kind of like, a lot of them were really early in the morning or like later in the evening. So it's just really nice that you get to choose your own time with Peloton. So that's definitely a pro. I think another big difference with Peloton and with SoulCycle is that with SoulCycle, you watch the instructor and you just kind of do what they do and try to mimic their moves, and you go at your own speed, your own pace, and you can choose that as well for the Peloton. But the Peloton really focuses on numbers, and so you have different numbers on the bottom screen, and with SoulCycle there are no numbers involved. You don't know how good you're doing with the people next to you, you don't know how fast you're going, you don't know the weight that you're doing, you just feel it. You still turn the knob the same way. At the bottom of the bikes there's a knob, and you turn right to kind of add more weight, or left to like loosen the weight, which also affects your speed, because if there's less weight you're able to turn faster, easier. More weight, it's harder to turn. And so the bikes work the same way, and it's pretty much set up the same way with like the seat and like being able to adjust the height, as well as, like I said, changing kind of like the weight of the bike that you're working on. And so with Peloton though, they really do focus on the numbers. So they have on the bottom screen, you'll be able to easily see these numbers: resistance, cadence, and the output. And the resistance is when you're able to turn that knob, that red knob at the bottom of your bike. And the higher that resistance number is, that means the more weight you've given to your bike and the harder it is to turn. So it makes it feel like you're going at a more uphill. And then if you turn that knob to the left and you lower that number, that makes it easier for you to turn your SoulCycle bike. And so it makes it so that you're able to go faster, and it makes it feel like you're going at more of a flat road. And then the cadence is the speed that you're going at. And so of course that just is determined by how fast you're spinning your legs. And if you have a higher resistance, that means it's harder to go at a higher cadence because it's more weight on your legs. And so then the output number in the middle just kind of shows the combination of those two factors and gives like a final number to just kind of show, I guess, the energy or just the output of what you're given. I really just focus on the resistance and the cadence because those are the two individual factors I'm looking at, my speed versus the weight that I have put onto the pedals or the bike itself. Another thing that SoulCycle is really well known for is just the environment that they have and the mood that they give off. And it's not just a workout class, but they really are just a place where it's a good place of like good vibes. They really try to make it feel like it's a family in a SoulCycle, and it's kind of hard to explain unless you've gone. And I'm sure there's other workout places that kind of do similar things, but they really just try to give good vibes when you're cycling and, you know, give good positivity and give inspirational stories or quotes thrown into while you're working out. And so it's supposed to just be a feel-good place, both physically and mentally. And I've noticed Peloton actually does a very similar thing. They don't just focus on the workout and how many calories you're burning and how fast you're going, but they just try to, you know, give those good vibes, those positive energies, as well as SoulCycle. And so the fact that you showed up is enough, and you don't have to worry about the number, just worry about bettering yourself. But yeah, so that's another thing that Peloton and SoulCycle are well known for. Another difference I see with SoulCycle and with Peloton is that with SoulCycle, you sign up for a 45-minute class and it's all built in for you. So there's arms integrated throughout the class, and then there's a cool down part and there's a stretch part, whereas with Peloton, you more so build the class yourself. And I could see some people liking it and some people not liking it. There are different lengths of classes for the spin part where you actually bike, and then then you'd add on like the arms portion, and then you'd add on like a cool down ride or the stretching part. There are some classes on Peloton that are 45 minutes long, just like SoulCycle, and they do have the arm intervals built into that class. But I've noticed throughout most Peloton classes, they are either 20 or 30-minute classes with no arms or anything. You're just spinning the whole time. And so basically with Peloton, you kind of just like think of the classes like different blocks, and you just build up the different blocks to kind of make your entire workout. And so it's more customizable. And so with Peloton, what I like to do is I do either like a 20-minute spin class or a 30-minute spin class. And so after my spin class, I choose a 10-minute arms workout, and then after that I will do a 5-minute stretch. And so that makes it out to be like 35 to 45 minutes, which doesn't sound like a long class, but it really does. You really do get a good workout in that short period of time. And there's also different types of classes. There's floor classes as well. And so they have core classes, they have some yoga classes, they even have meditation classes. So it's really nice that there are the different options to pretty much customize your own class for you. So like I said, Peloton's a big upfront cost, and I think it's best for people who have taken spin classes in the past and have really liked taking spin classes at whatever studio they go to then take the next step to invest in having their own bike to be able to do it at home. You know, of course, if you're new, you could still get a bike. I was a big spin cycler with SoulCycle before getting our Peloton, but my dad wasn't. And my dad tried it out. He'd never taken a spin class. He doesn't like taking classes in general. He likes going to the gym and doing his own thing. He never understood why I loved classes so much. And now he's changed. He loves taking these spin classes. He's like, I don't even know if I want to go back to my gym that I was going to once it opens up. And so you never know. I think it's also great. Peloton's great for families because you get the one bike, and it's for the whole family. There's not, you know, an additional cost. Yes, you have to get different shoes for everyone because I don't think everyone has the same shoe size in your family. But you just make different accounts for everyone, and it doesn't cost extra to make another account. And so I think that could be a good investment as well, considering the amount of people that will be using the bike. And with the bike, there's unlimited classes. You could take a class every single day. You could take a class once a week, twice a day, whatever. And so that's also really nice. It's just not having to worry about paying per every single class. So, and it could easily become cheaper than SoulCycle. One thing I did notice though with my Peloton is that, and I did notice this at SoulCycle but not as much, is that my Peloton, and maybe it's just for me, it's a little shaky. So when if I do any like standing up moves while spinning or like up and down moves, I just have to be a bit more careful. So I just want to let anyone know, if you're getting a Peloton bike, don't go too crazy. Like, feel out your bike to make sure you don't tip over or something. I haven't almost tipped over anything, but there were a few times where my bike while I was standing just kind of did a little shake, and it's just a little scary when you're strapped in. With SoulCycle, there's a lot of crunches and a lot of up and down out of the seat moves that you do, which can be quite fun. But with Peloton, I've seen that and I've done that before in Peloton classes, but it's just not as common. And it's a lot more sitting down or just standing up, not like, you know, crunches or anything like I mentioned, because I think the focus is just more on the numbers. So yeah, with this screen, you can see the leadership board on the right side. So that's basically, you're able to see all the different people in your class and what ranking you have. Also, with all these different parts of the screen, you can push an arrow and then they go away, so you don't have to look at it, because I know for some people, comparing themselves to other riders may do more harm than good. And so I could see that being a great thing to just be able to just get rid of. And then you have the timing at the top screen. And so you're able to see like the warm-up time, and then the amount of time you have like as a central main body, and then like the cool down time, or if it's an arms interval class, you'll see when it's arms versus when you're spinning. And so that's really nice as well. There's a settings button where you can just adjust like the volume or whatever it may be. It shows you the song that's playing, and you can like heart it so Peloton remembers what songs you like. And then at the bottom, it has, like I said, the output, and then like the weight and the speed that you're going at. Is Peloton, in my eyes, worth it? I mean, of course it depends. If you're a first time or a beginner spin cycler, I would say maybe wait it out, even though I know it's hard right now because you can't just go into a SoulCycle or a spin in-person spin class and see. But if you've been thinking about it for a while and you have the money, investing in something like fitness that's good for your mental and physical health never hurts. But I definitely think Peloton is worth it. I do love going to in-person classes like SoulCycle and having a place to be, and, you know, signing up for that class, putting money into a SoulCycle class is something that would force me to go. So I still love SoulCycle, but at the same time, I actually really do like the Peloton. I was wary of it at first before my family got it, because I was like, I love my in-person classes and I want to continue doing that. And, you know, once you get used to a certain gym, you're just devoted. I definitely will see myself going to SoulCycle sometimes, but I think especially in the climate of today's nature with just social distancing and who knows how long that'll be, I'm really glad that my family got a Peloton. And I think if you've been going to SoulCycle classes or any spin cycle classes consistently and been enjoying them, and you have the ability financially to buy a Peloton, I really see it as a good investment. So yes, if you're into spin cycle classes, I think it's a great investment, and it's something that will be used over and over again, and it's very convenient. And if you use it often enough, like I said, it will pay for itself versus going to a SoulCycle or a spin class and paying for a class every single week. I think eventually then you might end up saving some money if you have it long enough. And so I definitely think that if you're an avid lover of spin classes, Peloton is a great investment. So that's kind of been my thoughts on Peloton and SoulCycle, and I hope it's been helpful for you, and have a good day. Bye.